One match, one rivalry, one decision that could poison the biggest semi-final of the decade before a single ball is kicked. England versus Argentina, a World Cup semi-final. And 72 hours out from kickoff, the story is not the tactics, not the team sheets, not even the two captains staring each other down across the tunnel. The story is FIFA. The story is a refereeing appointment. The story is a governing body that once again has managed to make itself the loudest voice in a room that should belong to the players. This is the kind of controversy that has trailed World Cups for decades, but the scale of what is unfolding right now is different. And if you think this is just the usual pre-match noise, just fans being fans, just two federations doing what two federations always do, you have no idea what has been happening behind closed doors in Zurich this week. Because this one is uglier than that. This one has receipts. Let me set the scene. We are days away from a semi-final that, on paper, is already the match of the tournament. England, unbeaten through the group stage, coming off a knockout run that has been ruthless and clinical. Argentina, the defending champions, still riding the emotional wave of a generation, still built around a spine that has now won everything there is to win. The venue is set, the tickets are gone. The build-up should be about Harry Kane against Argentina's back line, about Lionel Messi and what may genuinely be his final World Cup knockout appearance, about whether Lionel Scaloni can outthink Thomas Tuchel over 90 minutes of the highest stakes football on earth. Instead, the build-up is about a referee. It is about a VAR protocol. It is about a leaked letter from one federation to another that was never supposed to see daylight. And it is about a phrase that has now been repeated by every major outlet on the planet. Sporting integrity. Two words that FIFA loves to print on banners and posters and never seems to actually apply when it matters. Now, on the surface, this looks like standard pre-match politics. Every big game has this. Every rivalry has this. But the second you look behind the curtain, the picture completely changes. Start with the appointment itself. FIFA's refereeing committee named the officiating team for the semi-final earlier this week, and within hours, both federations had lodged formal concerns. Read that carefully, because it is extraordinary. Not one federation. Both. England's FA and Argentina's AFA. Two associations who agree on almost nothing. Suddenly agreeing that the chosen official should not be on the pitch for this game. When your two combatants both raise their hand and say something is wrong, something is wrong. Then there is the VAR question. FIFA has spent the last 3 years telling the world that semi-automated offside, enhanced VAR communication, and in-stadium referee announcements have solved the credibility problem that plagued Qatar and, before that, Russia, fine except this week. Footage leaked from a group stage match involving one of these semi-finalists, where the VAR audio, according to multiple reports, was cut for 41 seconds during a decisive review. 41 seconds of silence on a channel that FIFA promised would be transparent. And the review, conveniently, went the way of the bigger nation. 41 seconds. Sit with that. Because in a game where a single frame can decide a goal, 41 seconds of missing audio is not a glitch. It is a black hole. And then there is the detail that really tells you how far gone this thing has become. According to a report first published this week and now confirmed by two separate national broadcasters, a senior FIFA official told a private gathering of sponsors that, and I am quoting him here, the tournament needs a final that sells, and the semi-finals will not be allowed to become a legal circus. That is a governing body official. That is not a pundit, not a fan account, not a rumor. That is a man on FIFA's payroll telling commercial partners that the outcome of these matches is being framed, in advance, around what is marketable, around what sells, not around what is fair. When the people running the sport start talking about semi-finals as products, the game is already in trouble. Now stack that against the human side of this, because both dressing rooms are aware. Tuchel was asked about the officiating appointment in his pre-match press conference and gave one of the most pointed non-answers of his managerial career. He said, and I am quoting him, "I trust my players. I do not trust everything else." Watch that clip again. Watch his face. The half smile, the pause, the small shake of the head before he moved to the next question. If you do not know the man, you know the look. That is a manager who has been told, off the record, that something is not right. On the Argentine side, Scaloni was even blunter. He walked into his press conference, sat down, and before the first question was asked, said the words, "We will play, and we will win, and we will do it despite everything." Despite everything. Not despite England, despite everything. When a defending world champion coach is picking that fight 48 hours before kickoff, you are not in a normal pre-match cycle. You are in a war of nerves that FIFA lit the match on. Zoom out and the historical weight becomes almost unbearable. In the entire history of England versus Argentina at a World Cup, there has never been a meeting that was not, in some way, defined by an officiating moment. 1966, the Anton Rattan sending off. 1986, the hand of God, and 4 minutes later, the greatest goal ever scored. 1998, David Beckham red card, Simeone, a nation turning on a 23-year-old. 2002, Beckham's penalty, redemption, a nation exhaling. Every single one of these matches has a referee sitting at the center of the story decades later. Every one. And now, in 2026, before a ball has even been kicked, the referee is already the story again. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. That is a governing body that has had 60 years to learn the lesson of this fixture, and has learned nothing. The problem for FIFA is that this time, the ground beneath them is shifting. UEFA has quietly indicated it would support an independent review of officiating standards. CONMEBOL, historically FIFA's most reliable ally, has gone silent, which in football politics terms is louder than any statement. And the broadcasting partners, the very sponsors that FIFA official was reassuring behind closed doors, are now the ones nervously calling Zurich, asking whether the semi-final will be played under a cloud that eats their advertising value alive. The next 72 hours are going to be brutal. FIFA has two choices. It can dig in, defend the appointment, insist that everything is fine, and hope the football itself washes the story away. Or it can quietly reshuffle the officiating team, admit nothing publicly, and pretend the last week did not happen. Neither option is clean. Both options leave scars. Let me be fair for a second, because this channel does not deal in fantasy. It is entirely possible that this is all noise. It is possible the referee has a flawless match, that the VAR calls are all correct. That England and Argentina produced 90 minutes of football so brilliant that nobody remembers the pre-match storm by full time. It has happened before. Great games have a habit of drowning out great controversies. But that is exactly what makes this a nightmare instead of a footnote. Because if the match is close, if there is a marginal offside, if there is a penalty shout in the 88th minute, if Messi goes down in the box or Kane is denied a header at the back post, every single one of those moments will not be a football moment. It will be a FIFA moment. It will be filtered through a week of leaked letters, cut audio, and a sponsor meeting nobody was supposed to hear about. The referee will not be judging a game. The referee will be judging a reputation. His own, and the sport's. And that is the tragedy of what FIFA has done here. Brick after brick after brick, they have built a wall between the football and the fans. The leaked letter, the 41 seconds, the sponsor quote, the refusal to reappoint, the silence from the committee. Each one, on its own, survivable, stacked together, they become the story of the semi-final before the semi-final has happened. When you spend a week acting like the villain, you do not get to walk out on Saturday and suddenly play the neutral arbiter. Nobody is buying it. England versus Argentina should be about football. It should be about Kane and Messi, about Bellingham and McAllister, about a manager duel that could define careers. Instead, it is about a governing body that cannot get out of its own way. Again now, I want to hear from you. Is this a genuine FIFA scandal that could tarnish the entire tournament? Or is it pre-match politics that will vanish the moment the whistle blows? Was FIFA right to stand by its appointment? Or should the officiating team be changed before Saturday? Drop your verdict in the comments and be honest. Because this is the kind of match where every fan has a bias, and every bias has a story. Subscribe to Soccer Ride, because we are deep into a World Cup that is already writing itself into the history books, for reasons FIFA never wanted. And trust me, this will not be the last controversy of this tournament. Not even close. England, Argentina, a semi-final that should sell itself. and a governing body that once again could not resist putting its own fingerprints all over the glass. I'll see you in the next one.